Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story of 2024. I'm Ty Hauser. Let's queer up the top stories of the year. This is number 15 of 24. Liberty Counsel files brief on behalf of Kim Davis, potentially threatening marriage equality. This story was broadcast on August 6th on Queer God Squad. In August, a far-right nonprofit Liberty Counsel backed Kim Davis in a legal move to challenge same-sex marriage equality, potentially prompting the Supreme Court to revisit the landmark Obergefell decision. But in September, a federal judge awarded $100,000 to a same-sex couple denied a marriage license by the Kentucky clerk, citing religious beliefs. The clerk served 5 days in jail. Let's take a look.
Liberty Counsel files brief on behalf of Kim Davis, potentially threatening marriage equality. Liberty Counsel is a far-right nonprofit organization focused on advancing religious freedom and promoting evangelical Christian values. The organization has filed a brief in support of Kim Davis, the former Rowan County clerk, who famously refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples, citing her Christian beliefs. This move could potentially lead to the U.S. Supreme Court revisiting and possibly overturning marriage equality established by Obergefell v. Hodges. In a recent press release, Liberty Counsel founder and chairman Matt Staver stated, "Kim Davis deserves justice in this case since she was entitled to a religious accommodation from issuing marriage licenses under her name and authority." The legal brief argues that the case could set a precedent, extending religious freedom protections nationwide and challenging the 2015 Supreme Court decision that legalized same-sex marriage. The Liberty Counsel's filing argues that Obergefell was based on the legal fiction of substantive due process, which lacks any basis in the Constitution.
Well, I was sort of glad to have her out of the news, but I'm glad we're bringing her back because this is an important story, one that we told on Queer News Tonight, but obviously the God Squad took it up, and I'm just going to fangirl for 1 minute. I love Darrell so much, and I love to hear him talk about stuff like this because he is so incredibly intelligent and well-informed.
And he looks good in the collar.
Well, I think they could have upped that number up from 100,000 to a little more, maybe 500,000, $1 million, or donated to a LGBTQ charity or something to that extent. 5 days in jail wasn't enough.
Well, I think unfortunately the woman seems to forget that her position was a public position and not a religious position.
For the people.
So, let's hope that they hold the ruling and not change it, because if you want to hold your religious views higher than your public position, then you need to stay in the religious community.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Look for something else to work at.
Exactly. Yeah. They want us to change our lives and accept their BS. Well, you know what? It's called being in the public eye.
You need to serve the people, not your religion.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens after January 20th.
Everything's up in the air.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm glad we're bringing this back because, it all becomes new news potentially once again.
Right.
We can't forget.
Yeah.
That's right. We're bringing you a special presentation of the 24 biggest stories of the year we call the Top 24 of 24. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.